before we get going, did any of you have any questions on the math test? Okay, no? All right. Hopefully all of you are finishing it up. If you haven't sent it to me already, I've gotten some of yours already. That's good. If you haven't gotten it sent to me, perfect. Get it done, get it sent to me, okay? All right. So today we have to start a new chapter, okay? There's basically two types of problems that we're going to do today, all right? We're working in and we're starting in with a chapter that all has to deal with percentages, okay? There's lots of different things. Oh, here comes John right here. Good.
Isabel texted me. She said she's going to try again.
All right. Morning, John. Okay, he waved. All right. Hopefully you got your book with you today. All right. I'm going to go over a few things. Like I told the other guys, if you haven't gotten your test finished yet, go ahead and get that finished up and then get that sent to me. Okay. All right. Nice head nod. I got you there. Okay. So moving on. Today we're going to talk about percentages and fractions. So the main thing that we're going to be learning how to do is to change a fraction to a percent and then being able to change a percent to a fraction, okay? So we got two different ways to look at it. I got to figure out which board I'm starting off with there. I've got a lot of boards here. Okay. No, I don't have coronavirus. No, that wasn't.
What page is it?
Turn to page 283 in your book if you want to kind of follow along. Oh, Isabel's coming on. Hey, Isabel, there she is. 283 in your book, Isabel, if you got it. Like I was telling the rest of these people, we have we have two different types of problems to do today. We have ones where we're going to take percentages and change them to decimals or to fractions. And we're going to have ones that are fractions and we change to percents. Okay? So percent actually means per 100. Okay? So this is the grade mark or the per 100 that you get on your test, right? We always want to know what percentage you got on your test. Okay, so when we think about this, Mr. Lindblad, whenever he grades it, he always gives us the fraction and then I give the percent next to it. And that's what the fraction turns into, okay? So this is basically kind of useful. So like when you know you got so many right out of so many possible, you could figure out what percent that is and then you could figure out your grade. So it's useful that way at least, but they use it in other applications too throughout the world, okay? So let's take a look of how we change a percent to a fraction. The real easy rule that I always say about a percent to a fraction, if we're looking here, let's start with this one here. It says 90%. The easiest way, whenever there's no fraction or decimal or anything involved to start off with, is take whatever number this is and put it over 100. Okay? So I take 90% here and change it and put it to 90 over 100 here. And then the rest of it is just reducing that fraction down, okay? So I noticed that there is a number that goes into 90 and 100. Does anybody know what we divide that divides to both in 90 and 100? Yes.
10.
Oh, and somebody yelled in 10. I think that was probably Jonathan. Good job. But it is 10. So this is a relatively simple problem. So if we divide 90 by 10 and 100 by 10, we get 9 over 10. All right. And that's basically the simple problems that we have to do today will look like that. Okay. We have a few of those. All right. Let's check out 300 now. This one's a little bit more tricky. This is one of the tricks that they do on our problems today. Once again, I just take that number and put it over 100. Then I would reduce it down, right? What goes into 300 and 100?
100.
100, yes. So 100 goes into 300 3 times and 100 1 time. That gives us 3 over 1, right? And then it also gives us a whole number of 3. Now, here's a rule I want you to think about or follow, okay? Anytime you get a number that is a percent and it's over 100, any number in the hundreds place, that would be the third place, that would be this 3, is going to be a whole number, okay? So sometimes they might give us one that's like this, 325%. So I could do that, put 325 over 100, but I just need to know that that 3 right there, since it's in the hundreds place, is going to be a whole number. We've kind of talked about this before in the past. All right, and then what you have left is the 25 over 100. Okay, so now I think, what number goes into both 25 and 100? Well, 25 does. And I have to reduce that fraction down. So 25 goes into 25 once. And how many quarters are in a dollar? 4, right? So my whole answer becomes a whole number and a fraction on that one. 3 1/4. So sometimes some of our problems will be mixed numbers. Makes sense to everybody? Nod your head yes if you got it. Okay, let's try some other ones though. And these come straight from our assignment today. So you kind of want to pay attention to these. All right, let's start with this top one over here. 8 4/5. How do I figure that out? Okay, our book tells us to do something with that fraction first.
You turn it into an improper fraction.
Say again?
Do you turn it into an improper fraction?
That could be a possibility. However, our book tells us something else. It says, take your fraction, 4/5, and change it into a decimal. Okay, so if I did that, I would take 4 from the top of the fraction, put it in the box, and then 5 from the bottom of the fraction, and divide it into 4. Add a decimal and put a 0. And how many times does 5 go into 40?
8.
8 times. Good job, Sam. Good job, Isabel. And then remember to bring your decimal up. So now my number changed into 8.8%. Now that I have it as a decimal, I can put it over 100. This is how our book tells us how to do this. Okay, so if you're looking at the book, and if you're still on page 283, you can see example 2 is very similar to what I'm doing here. All right, the next thing that our book tells us to do is then we need to change the part that's a decimal so that it's a whole number. In order to do that, I've got to multiply my decimal for as many point numbers that are behind the decimal. I got to multiply by either 10, 100, or hopefully not, but 1,000. Okay, today I don't think we're going to have to use 1,000. This time I have one number behind the decimal. It's in the tenths place, so I multiply times 10. Get it? All right, tenths place, multiply times 10. Hundredths place, multiply times 100. Thousandths place, multiply times 1,000. So this one's times 10. If I do something to the top of it, though, I've also got to do the same thing to the bottom. So I multiply 8.8 times 10. That would give me 88. I take 100 times 10, and now that gives me 1,000. Now I have to play the reduce game. One number could reduce into 88 and 1,000.
10.
Oh, I'm afraid not. 8d8 doesn't end in a 0. Remember our divisibility rules. Ethan's got a 4 up, and I think he's right. Okay, 4 might work. 4 goes into 88, so I'm going to have to divide 88 by 4. I get 22. I'm going to have to divide 1,000 by 4. Okay, 4 goes into 10 twice. Subtract 8. I get a 2, bring a 0 down. 4 goes into 20 5 times. Bring a 0 down and add it to the top. So my new fraction is 22 over 250. Guess what? We can still reduce. They're both even numbers. And yep. Now we divide by 2 again. Half of 22 is 11. And half of 250 is 125. So, mark it down somewhere, people. This is problem number 10. Or did I just do problem number 10? Oh, that frustrates me. Well, save this for tomorrow so you know what problem number 10 is for tomorrow's lesson, okay? And we're actually going to do problem number 9. Okay, so I'm erasing now. Don't worry, I recorded it and I will send it to you if you didn't get it. Why did I do that? Okay, all right, number 9 is 5 3/8%. And number 11 is 10 3/4%. Those are the ones I wanted to do. So let's go through those steps again. Oh, nice puppy. All right, here we go. So 3/8 we have to change to a decimal, right? So that's our first step. 3 in the box, 8 on the outside. 8 goes into 30. You got a creeper behind you there, Atlee. Atlee says 3, and he's right. All right, so 8 times 3 is 24. And when I subtract, borrow from the 3, 2, 10 minus 4, add another 0 and bring it down. Okay, 8 goes into 60. Seven times, he's right. 8 times 7 is 56. Mr. Lindblad's going to get proven wrong here. And I'll tell you why in a second. Remainder was 4. Add another 0, bring it down. 8 goes into 40 5 times. So my number now becomes 5.375%. Okay. Does everybody know what we do next? Oh, Isabel's got her puppy on her lap too. All right. Next, we put it over 100. Okay. Now, this one's a decimal. We got to get rid of the decimal. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. I was proven wrong. We are going to have to multiply by 1,000. So multiply both of them by 1,000. Wow. So I now get 5,375 over 100,000. Oh, wow. That's a really big number. Okay. Does anybody guess what would be a good number to reduce by? 5 will work. Okay. Now, I want you to look at the last two numbers of this, 75. Typically 25, 50, and 75, and double zero means that it's divisible by 25. Now, I'm going to give you a break and say, on this part, if it gets to be really huge like this, yes, you can use a calculator to reduce. Addison gives a cheer of yay. Okay, so I'm going to actually do that myself. I've got my calculator here on my phone, and I'm going to use it. So 5,375 divided by 25. And I came up with 215. And then I take 100,000 divided by 25. And I came up with 4,000. All right, got to keep going. One more time. What do we think we should divide by this time? Ends in 5 and zeros.
15?
You're
No.
guessing 15? No, I think we're going to have to go with 5, because if I do 215 divided by 15, that gave me 14.333333333333 repeating. So try
Ew.
5.
I don't like repeating.
No, I don't like, we shouldn't have anything repeating today. 215 divided by 5 gave me 43. And then 4,000 divided by 5 gives me 800. And by golly, if that isn't the answer. Okay? Problem number 9 right here, people. Answer is
Here tomorrow.
43 over 800. Okay?
Those are
We're
for
going to work
tomorrow.
through, there's only one more problem like that on our assignment today, and we're going to work through it right now, this 10 3/4. Okay?
Are those answers for tomorrow's assignment?
This one's today.
Okay.
Number 9. We're doing the odds today. This one's today. Okay? I know I'm running out of time here too. I got to roll through this next one a little faster, okay, people? Because I got to get to the other half of the assignment. So, we did 5 3/8. This is problem number 11 in your book. 10 3/4. Remember, our first step is to change that fraction to a decimal. Anybody know what the decimal is for 3/4 off the top of their head? What's 3/4 of a dollar? What'd you say, John?
75.
75. 75. Good. So my decimal should be 10.75. And then we put that over 100. Now, what do we multiply to both the top and the bottom? Sam is right. 100. Because there was 2 spots behind the decimal. It was in the hundredths place. We multiply times 100. So we get 1,075 over 10,000. All right, it ends in 75. What do you think we should divide by?
5.
Higher.
25.
25. If it ends in 25, double zeros, or 75, then we know 25 will divide into it. So I'm going to use my calculator again. 1025 divided by 25. I got 41, which is good, which probably means we won't have to reduce again. And then 10,000 divided by 25. And that gave me 400. Mr. Lindblad's going to redo something because I don't think I did it right. Yep, my top number isn't 41, should be 43. There you go. Using a calculator, if you put in the wrong stuff, you get the wrong answer. So remember that, okay? Make sure you're putting in the right information if you're going to use a calculator because you can come out with the bad stuff. Remember, I always say, garbage in, put garbage into the calculator, you get garbage out. Okay. All right, that's the first set of problems that we do. We got about 8 minutes left here, a little bit more, to talk about the second style of problem, okay? So, the second style of problem is taking a fraction and converting it back into a decimal, okay? So here's problems from today's assignments over here. Here's my practice problems here. Our book tells us to do it this way, and it's not a bad way, okay? Here's what they say. Take your fraction. Let's start off with 1 over 50. And what you do is you multiply it times 100 over 1. This will actually give you the percent right away, okay? So when we do that, now let's look to cancel. How many times does 50 go into 50? Once. How many times does 50 go into 100? Twice. Let me double check my answer here. Trying to remember where I did it wrong. Nope, I didn't do it wrong. Okay, so when I multiply across, I get 2 over 1, which is 2. And that is the percent that we need. It is 2%. And so all you got to do is label it with a percent sign after you do it. Okay, like I said, we start off with an easy problems here. Okay, let's look at another one. 1 over 10. So we multiply 1 over 10 times 100 over 1. Look to cancel. 10 will go both into 100 and 10. 10 goes into 10 once. 10 goes into 100. That's right, Ethan, 10 times. 1 times 10, 1 times 1. My answer is 10%. Okay? That's how the easy problems will go. Now, we will have a few problems that are not so easy. So let's discuss or talk about those. I am doing problem number 21 today, all right? And it starts off by saying, I have a mixed number of 2 1/5, and I want to know what fraction that, or what percent that's going to be. Now, if you recall, and if you can think backwards, anything that's a whole number will end up being in the hundreds place in our percent. So it's going to be 200 something, all right? So we can use that and cancel and just move that over to our end answer, move it over to the end answer, and then just work with the fraction and take that 1/5 times 100 over 1. Again, trying to reduce down. 5 goes into 5 once. 5 goes into 100 20 times. So the second part of my answer will be 200 and then that 20. So my percent for that one is 220%. This works heavily on trying to practice our canceling out and knowing a number that will divide into other numbers. Okay, you'll have to do well at this, thinking about it. Okay, let's do one more. Number 27. Sometimes we'll have ones where our number may not come out as a whole number in our percent. This is number 27. It's 1 over 200. First step, multiply times 100 over 1. Second step, we look to cancel numbers. 100 will go into both 100 and 200 here. 100 will go into 100 one time. 100 will go into 200 two times. When we multiply out, we get 1/2. Now, for some funny reason, when we get to these, and I know we're changing decimals to fractions, I tell you what, if you get to this part, I'm going to let you leave it as a fraction and just go, it's a 0.5%. Okay? I'm not going to ask you to change it to a decimal. They do in the book, but I'm not going to make you. All right? So my answer would be that. It ends up being a fraction percent, a 0.5%. Okay. Questions?
It's 1 through 30 something all, right? 32?
1 to 29 odd.
Oh, okay.
And then tomorrow we'll do the evens. Okay? Anybody else got a question on how to do them?
Nope.
Okay, Addison says no. I have shaking no heads. Isabel's just like, oh my gosh, I'm just waking up. Okay, like I said, I recorded this. I will be sending it to you. It will come on as a YouTube link, and it looks like Ethan's already oh, he's still there. All right. I'm going to let you go then because our time is up. Okay? Good luck on those. If you have problems, send me an email or something, okay? All right. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye. Hey, wait a second, Sam. I got to talk to you.
Okay.
Okay? And Ethan, remember, Sam and Ethan, remember science Zoom tomorrow and then at 10. And then Sam, I moved our English Zoom meeting to 11 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, so right after we get done with the science, stick around and we'll do we'll switch different tags for the English. And then that way we won't have one on Friday, all right?
Okay.
Okay.
So, how many math assignments am I missing?
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look.
Is it okay if I ask you for help, like through like whatever, like, call or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you mean ask for help through Zoom, or how did you want to do that?
I guess for help, like through a call or Zoom or like whatever.
Through a call? Yep. You could call me too if you needed to. Okay.
Yeah, so there's
Or email me.
hurry, it's gonna stop.
Well, tell her you're on the
Is that Addison?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Bye, guys. You can leave.
Bye.
Okay.